Put the needle on the record.
How are you guys able to just fight like that and claw and always seem to get the best of your opponent?
I mean, we just find ways. I think for us, it just starts with our habits. You know, we talk about doing the little things since day one. And so
it's always about doing the little things since day one. That's Jalen Brunson after that big Knick win. This is Tim. This is New York Knicks 3-D, the playoff edition. Oh, you know what? It was one of those nights. It was one of those games. It was Willis Reed. It was exercising the ghosts of Reggie Miller. You have Jalen going after the entirety of the second quarter. You take a look at his game. You understand that if you want to go back to sports analogies, he's the straw that stirs the drink. You know, he is the lion in the den. You know, he is the light of Zartha. I just kind of threw that in there. I was watching Men in Black 2 after the game last night. It was one of those games that you just kind of thought, you know, the Knicks were cruising, the Knicks were grooving. Brunson goes out. It doesn't come back out. Goes to the locker room. Doesn't come back out going in the second quarter. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. He's listed as questionable. And I'm watching this game going, he's listed as questionable, but they're not giving us any type of information. They're not giving us any type of speculation. Then, of course, the Pacers go on that huge run, go up by 10 going in to the half. And you're looking at this young athletic team known as the Indiana Pacers. You see them moving, you see them grooving, you see the Knicks trying to do what they can do, kind of sputtering a little bit. And then you get a little Willis Reed moment. And it's what, 56 years, I think, to the day, the Willis Reed thing, where he came out and played against the at that point in time, the vaunted Los Angeles Lakers. He had his 4 points, I believe it was. Came out limping. And it's just reached that moment. It reached that crescendo. And actually, now that I think about it, it was 54 years to the day, that Willis Reed moment. And that 1970s Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Oh, like I said, I'm literally going to be calling Jalen Brunson the light of Zartha. Brunson played all 24 minutes in the second half. And then, 24 points, 9 for 16 shooting, 4 assists, 32 minutes overall. Had an offensive rating of 49.2 and outscored and they outscored Indiana by 26 points. They did everything they could do. It's crazy shit. Then as the Knicks are moving and grooving, OG Anunoby with less than 4 minutes goes down what the team is calling a sore hamstring. He was having one of those nights. He appeared to hurt himself on that layup. I should rephrase it, the missed layup. OG had 26 points, 10 for 19 shooting. It's one of those moments. It's one of those defining moments, I think, in a series. What I think is crazy, that if the Knicks win one more game, and they definitely should win one more game in this series, they'll have the most playoff wins in a season since 2000. Yeah, I think it's since 2000. I think it's since 2000. That'll be the most wins, most playoff wins in a season for the Knicks if they win one more game since 2000. You got to take a look at this team. You got to look at the Nova boys. You got to give them all the credit in the world. Josh Hart, though, man. Josh Hart, to me, is he defines the word gritty. You take a look at him. Hart, with everything going on, with Mitchell Robinson going down, you got the Hartenstein, you have Josh Hart, you got all these guys, you got My Precious having to make up for everything. But Josh Hart, all he does is just play 48 minutes. That's all he does. He does everything you ask him to do. Plays 48 minutes every night. Not every night, but most nights. And he never looks tired. He never looks like he's out of gas. He had sick. What did he have last night? I don't even know what the fuck he had last night. I'm still stunned by this game. 19 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists and a steal. And all he does is play 48 minutes and have this high energy throughout the entire game. You take a look at Brunson, but he is also one of those catalysts. You also have the other Nova boy, DiVincenzo, coming in. I believe the Nova boys put up 76 last night. DiVincenzo, 10 for 20, 6 for 12 from 3, 28 points plus 15. Also added another 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and only turned the ball over uno. And then you had the Hartenstein. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. I thought he was going for a triple-double at one point in time. It was one of these moments that, everyone talks about, well, Tibbs, you can't do this because Tibbs is just going to burn these guys out. He only went 3 deep on the bench, and Burks only got 1 minute. McBride came in for 20. My precious came in for 28. He's playing the guys that got him there, Tibbs. It's one of those things you just kind of look at this and you shake your head going, the Knicks are doing this with mirrors. They're doing this with funhouse mirrors and Jalen Brunson. That's how they're doing this. Now, you got to say, though, that what's the best way to say this? And I'm trying not to come off rude about the Indiana Pacers, but you can tell that this is a team that is, I don't think immature is a good word. I think they lack the certain amount of playoff experience. And I think their immaturity showed a little bit going into that third quarter. You're up by 10. You had the pendulum swing. You can then step on the throat of this team, the Knicks team, squash the life out of them, and go 1-1 back to Indiana. Instead you have you give up 36 points and only score 18. You had that monumental swing at that point in time. Halliburton actually came a little bit to life with his 34 points, 11 for 19 shooting, 7 for 11 from 3, 9 assists, 3 steals, and only 2 turnovers. But the rest of the team, they just kind of went, it was just weird. They just didn't seem to have that energy and that synergy together to understand this is playoff basketball. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. The Indiana Pacers can run you out of the gym. They can, but this is not how playoff NBA basketball is played. You can play that fast pace, but you slow it. The NBA playoffs has always been this for years. You slow it down. It becomes a half-court game. And it seems that at times that frustrates Indiana. You watch at times Brunson run that ball up. And the pressure that he receives taking the ball up the court is monumental at times. But you watch him bring it up. You watch him at times quickly get it over the line. But then at that point in time, the whole thing slows down. The whole process slows down. And it's the rebounding of the Knicks and it's the offensive rebounding of the Knicks that you have to take a look at and have to understand, okay, this is what they do. This is how they're going to win these games. This is how they're going to win. This is how they're going to crash the boards, which is funny. Indiana out on the offensive rebound and out rebounded the Knicks 14-12. But it's a second chance scoring in the paint and the ability for the Knicks to understand the nuances of NBA playoff basketball, which makes them dangerous. You forget DiVincenzo's got a ring. You forget you got Brunson and Hart and everyone else has been in the playoffs. So they have that experience. And I'm never like one of those people that's like, well, you can't, if you don't have the experience, you can't play well. No, I don't believe in that. But I do believe there's nuances in the game, and that's in any sport, that when you hit the postseason, the strategy changes. And the strategy is more of a slower paced, defensive oriented game where you're looking for your second chance shots, and you have to have the ability to have a point guard who understands that, yes, you may want to matriculate the ball. I always like using the Hank Stram. You may matriculate the ball down the field, but you may get the ball up the court quickly, but then at that point in time, you kind of slow down the process. You maybe make that extra look. You maybe take that extra pass. But like I said, we have to thank more. Like I said, I think at times it was I don't want to say immature because I think that's the wrong word, but it was the lack of, I don't want to say playoff smarts, but it was the lack of the acclimate of understanding the nuances of the playoffs that has been hurting the Indiana Pacers. They never changed their style. They never changed their pace because that's just the way they're built. That's just the way that they're constructed. And I think the Knicks understand you play a philosophy. You play You play with, Jalen Brunson says, we've been doing the little things. You play within yourself. I always love that. I always hate that phrase. You play within yourself.
That's what she said.
But it really is. That's what you do. You play as a team. Now, will Brunson be back for the next game in Indiana? I don't know. Will OG Anunoby be back? I don't know. You know what's funny? OG got hurt. You're like, all right, that's not that shocking. But like I said, you could see the difference in the Knicks when Brunson's in and then when he's out. Without Brunson, they outscored the Knicks 37-27 to take the 73-63 lead. With Brunson in, it becomes a whole different thing. And all the Knicks do is they just lose guys. They just lose guys. But the one guy they cannot lose, the one guy they cannot afford to be without is going to be Jalen Brunson. Does Jalen take off the first game in Indiana? Do you try to go for the knockout blow and have your team, even at limited strength, sit there and bring them in and risk injury? I don't know. Because like I said, I don't know the severity of the injury to either Brunson or OG Anunoby. I don't know. But you know what? I got to give big thumbs up to the Knicks. It was one of those nights, man. I was so excited. I had the opportunity to go to the game, but I couldn't go. I really wanted to be there. I'm hoping to be there Tuesday night. I think it's Tuesday night. They're back home again. I'm not sure. Or is it Wednesday night? I don't remember. I know they play on. I know they play Friday. So they play Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. So yeah, it will be Tuesday night. So I hope to be there on Tuesday night. And as always, this is Tim. This is New York Knicks 3-and-D playoff edition, and I'm out of here.